Alrighty, let me share my screen here. Welcome, everybody. Let's see. PowerPoint slideshow. Welcome to the Q2 meeting of the National Society of IT Service Providers. Just a few notes as we begin. Remember, our vision is to be the voice of the industry. And so you're going to see some talk about that as we take positions and so forth today, defining the standards of professionalism. And we're going to talk about professionalism today. This is on our website. We encourage everybody to read it and to adopt a code of ethics. Today, we're going to do some quick introductions. Corey, the board president, is going to talk to us a little bit, and then we have some announcements, committee reports, and then lots of Q&A. So if you have questions, queue them up. Obviously, you're welcome to use the chat as you see fit. And with that, I turn it over to Mr. Corey Kirkendoll.
No, I appreciate it. First of all, thanks everybody for coming to the meeting and thanks everybody for just hanging in there. Over the last year, we've been having some challenges and some things that we worked through, man. Just want to kind of give you an update, kind of the lay of the land. As many of you may be aware, we're no longer being managed or working with Boulder Strategies at this time. We've decided to move into a different directions and have both decided to part ways from that perspective. And so what that leaves us with, what they were doing from a marketing and an executive director position, that's now been dispersed against the different committee leaders as well as the executive committees and the board to pick up those responsibilities. Throughout this process, our challenge has always been is to grow our membership and to grow our vendor membership and programs and offer valid services to the membership to continue to show that value. And that has been a struggle over the last couple of years because we haven't grown a lot from a membership perspective. And I think we were all in a place where we probably had, meeting overload and couldn't get a lot of things and a lot done to move the needle forward. So from that restructure, we're able to basically handle it a lot better now. We actually have a place where we've streamlined and pushed some of that responsibility back to the chairs to make those decisions and get board approval where necessary and needed. But now that allows us to be able to post and to be able to reach out to membership and to do things that we have not been able to do in a quick manner in the past. Recording every meeting, making sure we do it, get proper meeting notes is done. So not necessarily to have anybody overseeing and governing, but also allows for each of the board members to actually go and participate in the committee to hopefully streamline that feedback back up to the board and to keep things moving forward. As we go through that process, we had to reclaim a lot of situations to gain access to accounts and move things together, get lists together and things. And we've been able to make great progress on that to be able to make sure we're able to continue to function as an organization. And so that's what we've been really heads down and working through. I will say, man, that has been really pleasing that as we started to talk to the executive committees and talk to the people on the board and the organization, the membership, the challenge, and what our mission is continues to roll strong. And everybody stepped up to be able to say, hey, we got this. Let's continue to move forward because they believe in what we're doing and how we're doing that as well. Been making great progress on working with some of our products and some of our vendor partners that we have out there, like Channel Pro, GTIA, and others. And then as you'll see from some of the executive reports, that things are moving in a positive direction in the way that we need them to move. And obviously, we need to move faster, but we're now jeopardizing the integrity and the benefits that we offer to our members. So that's been a positive, and I love the group that we have because it's all been like, great, let's move forward, let's go do it, and let's get it moving. That's what's been really amazing from that perspective. We've opted to bring in, ran back to the executive committee to work on some of the financial pieces to make sure we got a handle and a good reporting piece from that perspective. Should work very closely with Jason and the treasury side and how we move forward. And again, our job this year is to, one, most important is to grow membership. And then also at that point to get vendor members on board and then also continue to provide value. And I think we have a lot of opportunities to do that. A lot of partners, a lot of companies are looking to say, hey, how do we get involved? Now we have a clear message, a clear path, and we're working with them to figure out how to go make that happen. So it's really going to take all of us to reach out to our peers, to reach out to our friends, to reach out into our Rolodex, our partners. They show value. They understand what that looks like. either you make the connection or you give us the connection or have them involved, but we got to grow that process to be able to do those things, to continue to strive and do that. I think you see a lot of opportunities for you as a member, you as a committee, and those things. We want to make sure that we continue to amplify what we're doing because it's definitely needed, especially now in the world of AI, as we've kicked every AI agent out of our meeting. But it's definitely needed. The ethics are even bigger, and I think that this is a great time for us as an organization to continue to move forward. So I'm looking forward to the reports that you'll get today, how we move forward, how we continue to get this train back on the tracks and move in a direction. And we're open for all feedback. Any one of us on the executive committee and the board, in the committees, are open to feedback. I don't think any one of us have the ego to be smarter than everybody else. That's why we surround ourselves with the good people that we have on our teams and those who are on this call and want to participate in this because I think we're stronger the better together than we are individually. And so I sincerely appreciate everything that everybody's done and continue to do, and we're going to continue to take that charge to continue to foster a mission that Carl dreamed up and got us all involved. So if anything doesn't work well, we'll go chase Carl down and we'll hang out with him. But I think he did a good thing because you guys are all here. So I'll open it up for questions, and if you have anything, I'm more than happy to answer those. Unless you want to hold at the end, Carl. I know member.
No, yeah, go ahead if people have questions. Anybody?
Bueller, anyone?
All righty then.
Thank you.
Very good. So let me uh, go back to the slideshow. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And, you know, I just have to reiterate how much work Corey has done and Rand Buccianico just helping us to take control of a lot of stuff and get things going back. It was not easy by any stretch of the imagination, and Corey has seen more of the inside of a bank than he ever wants to see again. So
That is true. If chase is a bad word to me right now.
So just a quick note on our values, take a screenshot of this. And if you're not following these, let's have a chat. But I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, the things that make sense to most of us um, are things that we value in this organization and that help us push our mission forward. We have a code of ethics on our website. We encourage you all to have one posted on your website. And if you don't know where to start, you can download. We have a downloadable version on our website. So, we're working to be as good as we can be. And I have to say, I'm thoroughly impressed with when we were going through, all of this. We had a big meeting of all the committees, and literally every single person stepped up, and it was very impressive. And we're grateful to have this organization. A couple of announcements. Mark your calendar. Go to nsitsp.org/events, and you can go right now and register for the August 12th meeting, which is our quarterly meeting. We do it on the second Wednesday of the second month of every quarter. And also register for the May 20th, so next week, the board meeting. So the board meets on the third Wednesday of every month, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. So please register for those things. And of course, we got all of our social links on there. If you haven't logged in recently, go ahead and log in and look around. I do want to thank our sponsors. We have a couple of vendor sponsors, Channel Pro and Kernan Consulting. And then MSP Radio and my coaching business have signed up not only as sponsors, but as authorized training partners. And Eric will tell us something about that a little bit later with the Professional Development Committee. We now have an educational component for NSITSP. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chris Barber, and he will introduce the committees and such.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you, Corey, for that awesome introduction. And moving away from Boulder wasn't an easy walk in the park, but like you both said, it's really been amazing to see how this grassroots organization can really make stuff happen. And everybody pitches in, and it just kind of warms my heart that we got that kind of buy-in because this is important. So Sticking with the theme of importance here, where the rubber oftentimes meets the road is these committee reports. So I'd like to first begin by welcoming Cameron to unmute and come on and talk about marketing.
Awesome. Yeah, so if we get back kind of to the basics and the purpose of our committee, and if we could get that slide advanced there, yeah. So if we think about the purpose of our committee, this is something that even prior to the Boulder transition, we were really trying to hone in on how can we best serve the organization. And it comes down to a couple of things. There's communication. That means that some of that is internal, right? For our members and our prospective members, we want to make sure that we're promoting all of our programs, events. We've historically had some really fantastic webinar series in place. And so one of our purposes as a marketing committee is to ensure that that is being well communicated. And then there's also the external communication component, right? That's maybe where we're trying to reach audiences that maybe have never heard of NSITSP or haven't previously engaged with us, right? That's how we promote the organization, how we promote the value of membership, how we promote the value of our purpose and what we're here to do and as an organization. And so some of the ways that we do that, of course, is through email and social media promotion. We're trying to also facilitate in-person events. Anyone that is attending an event upcoming, whether that's a Channel Pro event or one of the other events, any opportunity that we have either to have a little 5-minute speaking spot where somebody can promote that from the stage. Channel Pro has generously allowed us to do that in the past, or if we've got an opportunity to host a booth, and we've got a couple of people that are willing to work a booth for a little bit. We've got materials that are in place. I think we've got some booth materials and some handouts. We're going to continue to work on those types of materials to continue to promote the organization. As we move into the next slide here, we can talk about some of our initiatives. And again, this is something that we've kind of put in place prior to the management transition, but we're really trying to double down on our cross-committee engagement. So what does that look like? We're going to be working really closely with Tim and the membership committee to focus on membership growth, right? So I know they've got some strategic plans in place for how do we do that, and then we're the voice behind the organization to help support that and to help make that happen. So that's just one example of ways that we're working kind of across the board. We want to solicit feedback. So if you're on a committee or if you're a committee chair, please, as we continue to take over some of the actual tactical boots on the ground activity of putting out the email newsletter, getting access to and scheduling all of our social media content, please, if you've got something you want to get out there, let us know. We're going to be reviewing that in our monthly committee meetings and forming the newsletter content that goes out. We meet on the last Wednesday of the month, so of course you're always welcome to join us. Anything that you'd like to go out in the newsletter each month, please just make sure to have that in to me or someone on the team prior to that meeting so that we can review that and craft that. We do have our email newsletter restarted. Hopefully you all received a couple of emails. The first one we sent out was a message from Corey kind of outlining some of the transition and the changes. We weren't able to restart with necessarily the most recent list of subscribers from previously, but we do have a good start. So if you didn't receive those emails announcing this meeting or the one from Corey, please make sure to sign up on the website to subscribe to those, or you can shoot me an email. I'll make sure you get added to the list. So we're going to restart those monthly newsletters as well as event promotions and things like that. And then we're going to be working on the social media aspect side as well. And in line with that, some of the things that we have talked about in the past, but were never able to get implemented with our previous management group, but we'll be able to do now is some of the things like the new member welcome series, where, as a new member, you'll get a series of communications highlighting the resources that you have access to, the value that the organization brings, ways to get engaged, things like that. So those things are all forthcoming. A couple of other things that we're working on that are focused really more on the external side of things. Marvin has been fantastic with his member spotlight podcast episodes on the IT Business Podcast. So we're going to continue those. If you're interested in joining Marvin's podcast, let me or let Marvin know. He and I talked briefly the other day. We're still trying to come up with the specifics of it, but he actually had the idea of highlighting maybe at a larger level, more from an organizational standpoint, whether that's what is a committee focused on. So perhaps Eric and the professional development committee, we could have a podcast episode that really highlights our training initiatives and some of the work that we're doing there, or maybe even just as an organization, what are the things that we're working on, whether that's legislatively, from an advocacy standpoint. So in addition to just those member spotlight episodes, really almost more of a what's happening with the NSITSP. And so that's something that Marvin has offered to do very generously. And I think that is, we're working out the details, but I'm really excited about that. The last thing that I'll say here on the next slide is just reminding people, just like Carl said earlier, make sure to promote your NSITSP membership. Make sure to promote, your involvement with the organization. Add it to your LinkedIn profile. If you're a committee chair or you're just a member, it doesn't matter. Make sure to add that there. Put a copy of the logo on your website. Add it to your email signatures. Consider adopting and publishing your code of ethics. We do that, and I've included a link to our page here that you can see how we've chosen to adopt that. I showed this to Carl the other day when we were chatting, but we even recently had some postcards printed that we just send to clients or prospects or whoever. They're just kind of blank postcards, but we even included on there that we're proud to be founding members of the NSITSP, right? So consider including that in your marketing and other promotional materials, even if it's something simple like that. And don't forget the member resources that are available on the website. They're nsitsp.org/member resources. So I know that was a mouthful, but that's everything we've got cooking in the marketing committee.
Okay. Thank you, Cameron. We appreciate that. Moving on, we have our board treasurer for the finance committee, Jason Thomas.
Chris, he is not on the call because he's on the phone with a client right now.
The nature of the beast. Understood. Why don't we come back to him and hopefully he's able to join us soon. So skipping Jason for now, we have Brett Erickson for governance.
Wonderful. Thank you. Great job, Cameron. And Jason Thomas is the busiest man in show business. So no surprise. All right, perfect. So the governance has been, committee's been tasked with basically not even rewriting, but creating our guidelines of professional responsibility. We just met on Monday. It was great. We've had great participation. There's probably 5 of us in there in that meeting pretty consistently. We're trying to keep the focus high level and principle based, not overly detailed or prescriptive. Trying to avoid like implying expectations tied to like individual management or owner preferences. And what I mean by that is like specifying how you do backup, when you do backup, like really trying to avoid, because everybody runs their own ship, right? So really trying to make it general. We spent a little bit of time reviewing some examples from other organizations and industries just for reference and ideas. And I think we got one more meeting. The running joke in our committee meetings are like, we'll have this at the end of the meeting. But this time, I really do think we'll have it by the end of the meeting and then send it off to the board. I did write down the categories, just read them off here. There's really 4 that we're concentrating on: technical competence and continuing education, and then cybersecurity and regulatory compliance, and then honesty, integrity, and confidentiality. And then lastly, professionalism and client service. So that is close to cooked and ready to be delivered. And that's really what we've been up to over at governance.
Okay. Thank you for that, Brett.
You got it.
Next up, we have legislative with Ted.
You muted, Ted.
Oh, you're still muted, my man.
Never mind. Anyway, what I was saying is the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Michigan House Bill 4938. We were notified this by somebody up in Michigan who wasn't even a member of NSITSP, but sent us a message from the website saying, hey, you guys should take a look at this bill. Well, we're not going to take any position on them trying to outlaw internet pornography in Michigan, but they wanted to outlaw something they called circumvention tools, such as VPNs, proxy centers, encrypted tunneling, just about anything you could use for security you could think of. We took a position against this, but not against the outlawing of circumvention tools. They wanted to outlaw the marketing, sale, and use of these tools within the state of Michigan. We took a position not against the intent of the bill, but against the prevention of the use of circumvention tools, as they called it. We did get approval from the board, and we sent out a letter to the House Justice Committee in Michigan, and we got a response back to them saying that they've noticed our objections, and we're going to keep that in their records. If we can go to the next slide. Okay, in January, the new legislative sessions started. What most people don't realize is that most legislators only meet for a few months a year, if at all that year. Some only do it every other year. It begins in January and it usually is ended by now. So what we ask members to keep a watch on what your legislator's doing. So things like that Michigan law don't slide through without us at least knowing about it and taking a position if it's appropriate for us. We can't watch. There's only 5 of us on the committee, and it's hard to watch 50 legislators, 50 state legislatures, never mind.
That word.
It's hard to watch all the politicians. Let's just put it that way. But we're working on something else and working with people to work with their state legislators in trying to develop states to do safe harbor laws. Right now, there are 7 different states that have some version of a safe harbor law that affects the IT industry. Ohio was the first one and actually has the law that is being used as a basis for the other states that have passed them. But we're trying to reach out, and we're looking at reaching out to the legislative leaders in all of the states to say, hey, this is something we're interested in. We'd like to talk to you about it. So that's where we're doing with Safe Harbor. We can go to the next slide. What I do suggest is take a look at our blog posts. I've written a couple of different blog posts on what's going on with Safe Harbor, what a Safe Harbor law is, and how would it affect you as running a IT service business. I think these would be very they're good business language. They aren't in legal land. One of the other things that I've posted out there is the University of California Center of Long-Term Cybersecurity put together a database of every cybersecurity related bill enacted across all 50 states. There were over 90 of them. Those 90 laws had over 300 and some odd policy changes that took effect across the 50 states. Take a look at the blog post, read what this is about, look at the links, look to see what's going on in your state and how it might affect you. And that's kind of where we're at with the legislative committee.
Okay, I appreciate that, Ted. Also, it's admittedly hard for me to say legislative and putting on the spot too. It's kind of ironic. Next up, we have membership with Tim.
Hello, everyone. We are gaining momentum as a committee. We're the newest committee put together for NSITSP. We're working on building on some relationships with other organizations and associations. So if you have any suggestions, let us know. We're also building a list of some more potential vendor partners to work with and contacts to reach out to about membership. As was mentioned earlier, if you have people that you think should be a member of NSITSP, reach out to them. If you don't want to, send us their info and we will do the contacting for you. As was mentioned in Cameron's section on the marketing committee, we're working on doing a drip campaign for non-members and webinar attendees, and also kind of a welcome series on the benefits of NSITSP. And we're also talking about kind of doing a business card template for members to pass out. So it would highlight your membership in NSITSP. Next slide. We also wanted to do a kind of welcome webinar for members to be able to receive. So again, it would kind of highlight the benefits, do a kind of high level of what is on the NSITSP website. And again, the drip campaign of benefits of membership when you start your membership. And again, kind of a benefit summary / new features before your renewal date. And wanted to highlight a couple things because, to be honest, I wasn't aware of some of these until recently. We do have a membership directory available on our website. It's hidden in the footer, so I put the URL there. We also have forms on the website. It's in one of the drop downs. I think it's under the Get Involved, but the URL is there, and we'd love to get more activity going on there. I know everyone hates another place to go, but we'd love to have more discussions and stuff going on. One of my favorite forums is the events one, which we'd love to get more activity to determine which events we should be at, which events you're going to, and which ones we should be promoting NSITSP at. So I believe that's my last slide.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Next up, we have professional development with Eric.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris. We've made significant headway. We've been stalled a little bit with our management challenges, but we've gotten our authorized training partner for the educators launched and are currently actively working towards getting our training partners involved and online. We do have one course up, I saw. So we look to have a significant lift in that over the next couple of months. So we're actively soliciting those education providers. And if you want to take a look at where we are with that, the link is there for the education site. The students we've got the pieces in place for students to submit their continuing education units, and look forward to seeing some continuing education units land in our inboxes to allocate those to the students, and look for that logo that you see there from our training providers. A lot more to come on this. I think in the next quarter, we've made a lot of headway in the last couple of months. And that's the conclusion of my report.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks.
Jason, we skipped over you because I understand you were working on something. But would you mind giving us the finance report, please?
Sorry I'm late. Yeah. Have you gone over any of the other details for accounting or bank account information, etc.?
Not in any detail at all.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, due to the management company changes, we're in the process of probably moving banks. We now have access to funds that have been accepted since February. We are in the process of still straightening out all the finances from the past 2 years or so. Not straightening out, understanding where money has been spent to make sure that we have a complete understanding of that. And we are actively taking new membership, the registrations and and renewing things. We have a process that we're going to be starting up now about re-verifying, because there's a number of people where credit cards have expired or whatever else. So we're going to need to reach out to a number of people that that information is now stale and will need to be re-input into the system. So I'm not sure if we'll be working with membership on that, or if we'll take that on the finance committee. So number of just those housekeeping issues that we're taking care of on the back end. And hopefully for the next meeting, we'll have an exact accounting of everything back up to date.
Okay. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate your leadership too.
Yep.
Let's see here. I think next week got are we already at open discussion? Yeah, I guess we are. That was fast.
Well, that's all the committees we have.
Fair enough.
So, one of the things I wanted to mention also is that if folks haven't looked at your membership recently, if you are an individual, consider joining at the company level. It's just literally just a few dozen dollars extra, but it does help us out, and it makes your employees potential members. So when you're a company, your employees can be registered as associate members. And we have a lot of associate members, but it would be great to have a lot more. When we go to vendors and say, hey, we need your attention, the thing they care about is numbers, right? So getting those numbers up really helps, and having all of your employees be associates helps us as well. So any other comments, questions, anything from board members, committee members, attendees, members?
No, this is Corey. I think you're hitting it right on the head. And as you guys participate in other organizations out there, that I believe that there's a place where we are stronger together than we are apart, man. And we're working very hard to work on some things with GTIA. We're working hard to work on things with the Channel Pro, Channel Company, and all the others that are out there. If there's other organizations that have synergies that we do, we'd love to have a conversation with them to figure out how we cross-pollinate. One of the things that we're hearing consistent from other organizations is they have a hard time getting people to participate in their content, their webinars, and do things. And I think that's one thing that we have a leg up and we do very well. So they're looking at that. Channel Pro is looking for us to, spend some time with them and do some awesome things with them. So if you're out at an event and where it is and how to promote, if you need some cards or a button and know that you're part of that to highlight that, let us know so we can get you that information so you can continue to blow that horn and let them know that we're here for them to do it. One of the things that we as an organization has made a strive for is we are not here to allow our vendors to go market to you. So we're very clear when we talk to them is that if you're looking to sell our people something and you want to list, then this is not the organization for you. If you're looking to support our mission to make sure that we have the right MSPs that have a code of ethics that are doing business in the type of MSPs that you want to do business with, that's the partnership we want. Right. And we're going to guard that information to that. And we've had some vendors and partners that walk away because they do want to market to you. And we're trying to protect that because we don't want, I think you guys get enough emails and LinkedIn requests, and I'm right there with you. So that's one of the hard lines that I told, and I think all of us told that together, is that we're looking for people. We believe that when you have, and I'm going to use that word very close, an MSP or an IT service provider that is truly set up and have a code of ethics and is above the bar, I believe that every vendor would want that MSP or IT service provider to be a good partner because they're already set up for success to move forward. Fair? And that's one of the things that we're holding that line is if you support that mission and you believe that we are the right customers for you, then you can come partner with us to educate us and to provide value, not to sell to us.
The other thing I was just going to mention real quick is that Corey and I met with Henry Tim from Rocket Fuel Factory last or 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
and had a great conversation about working with them. They're a newer resource where they're working on raising standards in our IT industry as well. And I think it's a good fit for our ethics and integrity section, which they don't currently have addressed on their in their format. So it's the rocketfuelfactory.com is their website, but we're hoping to get integrated with them as well to make sure that hey, we're all pulling the same way in this industry.
I have a comment if this is an appropriate time.
Sure.
Of course.
All right, that was a test to see if the mic was working. So first of all, Henry is as connected as anybody in the industry, and becoming so is Don Sizer too. So that's a great liaison to have made. I also go to a lot of shows and been connected to a lot of communities and be happy to do whatever I can. I sent an email off to Carl and Cameron about that with a little snippet of my so far the rest of the year travel. But I'd be happy to carry the banner in a manner that would be effective, but I don't know what that manner is. So reach out. And I just want to take another quick moment to say, Christopher, the hair is even better.
My man.
And I like the way you did that because that's precisely what it looks like. But anyway, I just want to say I think I can help, and just reach out and tell me how.
Do you have NSITSP business cards?
I don't. I do have an NSITSP logo in my email signature because I just did that while we were talking. And I will now have business cards that I use in my new guise since selling at Sciences that will have that as well. But I
Because we
don't
have some
Your-
really, generic join the NSITSP business cards that you could hand out at events. Anybody can. If you want some, just ask.
I'm asking
Ask Cameron.
Cameron. I'm
Was
asking.
it Cameron? Cameron, we've talked about that in the marketing committee, just of just making those informations available and just people who's going to what, right? And just you get tagged. Maybe it's something you can put on your lanyard when you're at an event, or just some simple basic things that, oh, what's that? Oh, it's this. Just start the conversation.
Yep. And Jason's personal company made some buttons that look really great on the lanyard above your name tag. So I think he charges $10 a piece for those. But I keep
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's a moneymaker for me.
That's how he's grown his empire.
One button at a time.
Folks, I have a question. I was listening to, I was an attendee at a webinar for the Geneva Association. The Geneva Association is a gargantuan association of insurance companies, a global association of insurance companies. I found out about it, and I was on the call because through my wife. They did a webinar called Strengthening Cyber Resilience Through Insurance. It was absolutely fascinating. I will send a link to the group for the recording or to the recording. What I found, I had no idea. I had very low hopes for this. But there were no MSPs on the call. I was the only MSP on the call. And it was simply because the folks at the Geneva Association didn't think about it. One of the people who were presenting kept mentioning, "Oh, we should, we work closely with MSPs. We work closely with MSPs." This is an organization I think we should very much reach out to and see if we can partner with. As I said, they're global, they're enormous, and it would be a huge coup if a representative from NSITSP were sitting on one of their webinars. Who should I talk to and strategize with before we go out and approach them? I've got my wife is actually close with the president of the board. In fact, her CEO may be president of the board next year. So that's what she's lobbying for. That's her job. So I would love to be able to get us in there. And I would love to talk with somebody before just going rogue.
Yeah, Dave, I think it'd be a good opportunity for us to get with the membership committee and have a conversation of what that looks like and work on that we're sending a consistent message. But I just looked them up. I think that's great. It's always funny when you see people who love to work with MSPs and we're not there.
Yeah. There was one guy who owned an insurance agency out in California, in the Bay Area, and he kept saying we should, and the MS, the clients we work with, if they're small, we have to talk to their MSP, and then it was like crickets after that. So,
and I think the insurance industry is absolutely the greatest ally that we could have.
Could be.
I mean, the only organizations, big ones that can absolutely force people to take cybersecurity seriously are the government and the insurance companies. And it's the insurance
and we don't want the government doing it.
But the insurance companies are the ones who literally they create the checklists. And I've often told people, go read your liability policy. Chances are excellent that in the middle of your insurance policy is a note that you can get free cybersecurity training, and there's lots of resources that they have. That industry works really hard on this because they know that they have to. They are insuring it and could lose really big money if it's not done right. So they've got a checklist, and you can make a living just executing their checklists, and we should ally with them in any way that we can.
Well, part of this, the reason they had this webinar was in their association meeting in Venice last year. They had they had a speaker there that was talking about insurance in general. And they mentioned that less than 1% of premiums are coming from cyber insurance globally. It's slightly larger in the US, but it's still less than 10% of premiums.
Wow.
And, it's a huge opportunity for them to work with an MSP for small and mid-sized businesses to get these people to buy insurance.
Yep.
So I think there's a huge opportunity there, and Corey, I will reach out to you and we can put together a chat with the membership committee.
Perfect. Thanks, David.
And we may want to bring in legislative as well. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll be glad to listen to them. What we're trying to do with Safe Harbor is probably going to affect the insurance industry a lot, because what Safe Harbor is doing is basically limiting the liability that an MSP would have if they follow through on the cybersecurity stuff they're supposed to be doing on. And mentioning that, I do want to mention that Jared Kastner, who's also on this call and watching us here, I've been working with him, and his company, Blacksmith InfoSec, is actually working in the Safe Harbor area also. And he's also mentioned about trying to promote NSITSP with his stuff. So Cameron, you maybe wanted to reach out to him and get him some info.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I was just going to say too, Ted, anything, I would love to help facilitate anything from a legislative standpoint, as it relates to the state of Louisiana. I don't know that we've got anybody that has been very active in that, but I would love to be part of that any way that I can.
This is such a
We're
perfect
putting
example
to,
of the
we have
committees.
put, oh, sorry, Carl.
I was just say this is such a perfect example of the committees working together and just working hard to not silo knowledge.
Mhm. I'd
Yeah.
like to point something kind of came from Ted in the conversation we just had. I spent many decades doing advocacy to legislators in a different arena for disabled, homeless, and foster youth. But the lesson is you don't get invited to the table. You have to ask to sit down. And so I think that's important for our members to know. When insurance companies are contemplating things, when legislators are writing legislation that may not be too intelligent, they normally don't pick up the phone and say, let me call someone. So we have to become on that radar, so that we're considered an industry expert. And it's really easy to ask your legislator, can you get me involved when these things come up? Like I said, I've done it for decades on developmentally disabled and homeless and foster youth. And after 5 or 6 years of investment, I finally get called and says, will you come up to Sacramento or DC and speak on these topics? So I think that's something the legislative committee has been talking about that for a long time. And I think that.
And one of the things we've seen is that people are always scared to talk to their legislators. They don't know how to talk to them.
Yeah.
We're working on different things to help you work that relationship and how to get involved in it. We put together what I think is a very good outline for a long-term relationship with a legislator, but we need to make it simplified so people don't get scared of it to begin with, which is what we're working on right now. And considering that this is an election year, we know that everything's going to change anyway. But we're trying to reach out to people that, like I said, from the Berkeley study, reach out to people that have already done and sponsored IT cybersecurity law. So these people are also involved in IT, and we're trying to give them somebody else to refer to.
Yeah, and the last thing I just wanted to say is if you're in that position where you want to talk to a legislator, you're a little nervous, you don't know how to do it, I'm happy to help you. Just contact me. I'll either jump on a call with you or fly up to where you are and to start spawning those relationships. I think you'll find it beneficial after time.
And you're all welcome to the legislative committees done on the third Tuesday of the month at 4 o'clock Eastern. It's that noon in Pacific.
No, this is good stuff.
4
That would be
o'clock
1 Pacific,
Eastern.
Ted.
That's 1 o'clock Pacific.
Sorry. I've never lived on the West Coast.
One of the things I want to make sure everybody knows is we really want to push the training piece. So if you offer classes, obviously we'd love to have you sign up and be an authorized training partner. But if you're taking classes from anybody, just ask the question, do I get continuing education credits for this, for the NSITSP? And if not, hey, you should be a member. It's crazy cheap. It's $750 a year. So there's, nobody selling training should say, oh, I can't afford that. Sell 2 more classes and you're done. So, if you're taking courses from anybody on anything that's related to the business side of running an MSP, ask them to join our authorized training program. And literally all I have to do is go to the website /education and find out about it.
Yeah, I would add that the training partner does need to be a member of the organization in order to become a training partner. So they're really invested in what it is we're working to do here.
All right. We got 9 minutes left. Anybody? comments, questions? Well, there's a lot of new faces here, so if you guys have questions or I'm not sure what the hell's going on, raise your hand.
Nah,
I
guys,
posted this in the chat, guys, but I just wanted to call it out. If we could set up a way to get notified of new blog posts, that would be great. So just like subscribing to the blog and getting an email or something when a new blog post is posted, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that's something we can work on. We'll have to figure out how to map those preferences and stuff. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. We can take that on.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks everybody. I really appreciate your time and effort. If any questions continue, I love the collaboration. I love the thoughts. And again, I really sincerely appreciate you from myself and the board and the executive committee. We thank you and we look forward to continue to serve.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.